We've been spending our time out here at Husker Harvest Days.
Seeing everything that's new, the tractor that drives us south, also talking with politicians, including the governor.
And this weekend, it's your update on the Drought Monitor, long-range climate, and those famous proverbs. So let's get ready to grow.
That's pretty cool.
Well, I think it's amazing.
Welcome to the future of farming.
This is our autonomous concept vehicle.
Case IH unveils what some are calling the driverless tractor.
Technology keeps getting better and better.
You ever think you'd see a tractor that just about drives itself there?
No, I didn't.
A machine controlled by radar, lasers, and cameras, all overseen by a farmer with a tablet.
Imagine being able to remotely operate and monitor your equipment.
So if you think about in the springtime that it's now getting that field ready with tillage as well as in planting, I could have multiple tasks going on in that field with that one person.
It's the tractor everyone's got to get a selfie with. Dan Kinley already uses GPS-guided tractors on his farm, but this takes it to another level.
You ain't got to drive it, that's for sure.
But it could be held back by lawyers more than farmers.
Regulation to get it down the road is not there. The automotive sector will kind of drive that. But for us, we know that we can get the vehicle to the field, and then now I could have multiple vehicles using this technology.
Young farmers can see a day where this will be mainstream, but not yet.
But I think it has to be affordable first. We might see a day these are in the field, but I don't know if that would be affordable. Corn with 2 in front of it doesn't really help.
There's no sticker price, but Case IH says the technology could work on tractors and combines, allowing farmers to work around the clock with safety in mind.
What happens if an animal comes across? Well, with LiDAR and radar technology, it would automatically stop, give you an alert on the tablet, and allow you then to look at the cameras, not only front and back, to see what obstacles there.
Some call it a transformer, others the stealth tractor. Technology like this could be the biggest advance since tractors replaced horsepower. Steve White at Husker Harvest Days.
Of course, Steve, you know, is precision agriculture. It's the thing now, and a lot of this data is rolling in to farmers.
Whether it's your tractor, your combine, your pivots, every input you use, everything you produce, all your yield mapping. I mean, there's so much information, just loads and loads of data.
And now what do you do with that is the thing, because you might have all this information, but you need to make decisions, and you need to make sure that you're making the right decision. And you can actually go to basically it's a support community. And with us now here, we're talking with Farmers Business Network. So explain a little bit more about what you guys offer.
Well, great to be with you, Marilyn and Steve. So what FBN is it's a network of farms around the country, and basically allows farmers to use their farm data in a way to share with each other and then learn from all the other farmers in the system as to what seeds are working best on their fields, what agronomic practices are working, even what prices they're paying for inputs. And so what happens is that information now becomes available to all the members who created it, all the farmers who created it, and that gives farmers an informational advantage. So when you go to buy seed, you know as much or more about the seed's performance than the seed dealer who you're working with. Or when you go to buy chemicals, you now know what the fair market prices are that other farmers are seeing in the market. So that gives farmers an advantage. And the whole focus is taking information, helping farmers use it to make money and save money through smarter decisions. All the farmers share the information with each other, and it goes into what's called an anonymized aggregated system. So instead of looking at just one plot trial from either your farm or from the seed company, you can look at tens or even hundreds of thousands of acres. The top seed in Nebraska in the FBN system has over 75,000 acres of data on it. So if you think about that when you're trying to make a decision versus just looking at that one row or that one strip in your farm, compare that to having 70,000 acres, it's not even the same universe, basically.
So this can even help like your smaller farmers and family farmers even, and bigger farmers and corporations too, right? Can you do a mix?
Yeah, absolutely. So anybody can join. As long as you share information into the community, you can access information from everybody. And that's what we call democratizing farm information. So what that means is that every farm, large or small, as long as they share, can access the best, most current information as to seed performance, prices in the market, and then we've even taken the whole step further, which is we've created a buying service around it so that if farmers see products that they want to get, FBN will go out and negotiate with manufacturers and then ship straight to the farm. And we've been able to save farmers as much as 50% on certain input costs during a very, very tough year. And so that creates transparency and it creates fairness in the system, which is helpful to farms of all sizes. By creating a farmer-driven, independent source of information, it puts farmers back in the driver's seat. And that's farmers are the ones taking all the risks, creating all the value, and they should have the information, the best possible information. And so then by also creating a manufacturer direct buying service, we can effectively allow our members to benefit from the scale. So there's 9 million acres of farms in FBN. Those 9 million acres can participate in the same programs together, and that's how we can drive incredible prices and then also incredible information back to the farm.
Steve, it's no question that there's a lot of power in poop.
That's why she was laughing, because she was
I'm so excited to say this. I get to say poop. Poop is a funny word. But on a serious level, manure is used out there in the soil, and there's an actual experiment going on here on the grounds.
Yeah, the University of Nebraska did that. Let's go ahead and take a look.
We're trying to demonstrate how manure and other organic residues, such as wood chips, can improve the quality of soil. It can create an environment where the soil has less erosion, less runoff, and more infiltration of moisture into the soil and into the soil lower levels. So it makes those soils more drought tolerant.
Which is what our producers want. Obviously, they want that moisture to soak into the ground as much as they can so they can get most advantage of that. So you've got it set up here. It's like a science experiment. Explain what we see here.
Well, we call this a desktop rainfall simulator. And so what we're trying to do is shows the effects of how a rain comes in and what happens when it comes. The way that it's set up, you have a pan on top and the water comes down, and then it's like a rain event. And so the first thing that we're wanting to see is whether it actually does go into the soil or infiltrate. And then the next part is how much of it just flows off the surface, and we call that runoff. And so we have the 3 different treatments that we have here, and you're able to see whether it actually is flowing into the soil or whether we move it off the ground, and sometimes that can be an environmental hazard if we're moving off things like herbicides or pesticides that aren't staying in the soil.
The wood chips and manure seems to be the winner, huh?
Yeah, a lot of that has to do with our carbon that's in the wood chips, and then we're able to build the soil structure by having some porosity, having some air pockets or space, and having a cover. Here we have an example of having carbon. We also can have a cover with the leaves and also cover crops or planting some plants that can help break up that soil particle, because that soil particle, even this one, has a tendency of exploding the soil, and then those little particles that come out, they further fill in the soil air pockets, and so then that causes that effect of it almost being like a hard surface where the water just runs off rather than percolating in.
I want to encourage the use of organic materials like manure and like possibly woody residues, woody biomass, as a soil amendment that improves the quality of the soil. And there is real advantages to those kind of products over just a standard commercial fertilizer. The manure not only provides the nutrients, but it brings that organic matter that improves that soil quality.
All right, and this is something you can check out here at Husker Harvest Days as well.
Tools to help farmers be prepared for those drought situations, which seem to be inevitable anymore.
And you've talked about the Drought Monitor. You check it every week, and a lot of people look at that. But there's also some other tools coming down that can really help you even predict what could happen. Here's a look.
Tools for managing drought. We're talking with Michael Hayes. He is the director of the National Drought Mitigation Center, which actually happens to be based at the University of Nebraska in Lincoln. And, tools for managing drought. We know drought is something we're living with. And when we're talking about climate variability out there, especially in terms of agriculture being the audience here, I'm sure there's some interest in how we're going to manage that, right?
Exactly. So what kind of tools can producers use to help them make better decisions as they go along with their during the season and as they plan ahead for other seasons? Also, as what do they look at as happening in other parts of the country or around the world in terms of agricultural production.
You know, certainly one tool that's already well known is that Drought Monitor that you guys are one of the authors of, and I'm sure people get on that. I know I get on there every Thursday and check out that drought map.
Right, no, so that's been around since 1999, so every week that's come out, and so people can now use that in decision making. USDA certainly uses it in determining some drought relief monies or funding that would go to agricultural producers.
Well, what are some of the other tools that you either have now or maybe are even developing new tools?
Yeah, so one good tool is for ranchers. It's a tool called Managing Drought Risk on the Ranch that helps them put together a drought plan for looking ahead at how they can better manage for droughts in the future. Another great tool is called the Drought Risk Atlas. It's a tool that helps a producer understand how past droughts have affected them, and then they can use some of that past information to think ahead about what's going to happen in the future. Those are a couple of tool examples that we have.
And even university-wide, especially within the Institute of Ag and Natural Resources, drought, managing water, all of these things really has been one of the major focuses of the university, right?
Oh yeah, so it's great to be part of this team that works at the university, a lot of different groups thinking about drought, food security,
water for food,
exactly, energy and how energy is related to agricultural production. So it's a great atmosphere. The university's out in front and really helping us develop things that'll help agricultural producers in the future.
You know, and as we listen to what the science tells us about climate change and climate variability, it certainly seems agriculture would be impacted as greatly as any industry, right?
Yeah, I think climate and weather are going to continue to affect the agricultural producers, and so anything we can do to get them better prepared for climate and weather in the future is great.
All right, Michael, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much.